Hey, everybody, and welcome to the DLF Trade Show on the DLF YouTube channel. Russ and Addison back again to use DynastyLeagueFootball.com's Trade Finder, Trade Analyzer to help you crush the competition.
Adjectives.
Yes, and one way to crush your competition is to get to do things before they think to do them. And that's what we're here to talk about today. We are talking about free agent wide receivers. Now, free agency, the legal tampering period starts March 10th. So, as of recording this, it's a month and 5 days, but illegal tampering starts a little before that, where we start to hear the deals that are on the table already.
Of course.
I don't know why they bothered with the legal tampering period, because people just know what deals they're going to have by the time that starts now. NFL, man. Rules are arbitrary. It's fine. But because the awesome thing about free agents is the grass is always greener on the other side, right? Like, this player's going to leave this team and go be the number one over there. This player's going to leave this team and go be the workhorse over there. So there's always a very good chance that this player is going to increase in value when they go to a new team, or maybe what's best for them is staying on that team. Regardless, there's usually a much better chance that free agents will gain some value, or at least hold pat, than they will actually lose value because they move.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it's a good idea that maybe someone doesn't have it in their head like, oh, there's a chance this player could gain value soon. They're just like, oh, Addison wants this player from me. Okay, that's fine. But you're like, aha, I know. I'm getting this player for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
And today we are going to talk about wide receivers first. And when we're talking about free agent wide receivers, the cream of the crop, the apple of everyone's eye.
Is he the best free agent offensively in the entire class? Probably. Like,
Yeah,
of
off the
all,
top of my head, yes, because there aren't any great quarterbacks.
I
And
think when Sam Darnold is topping your quarterback free agency list, where
exactly.
the
And
running back, because I was looking at running backs, we're doing running backs next week. It's the best one's probably Najee, I think, at this point, unless somebody gets cut. But yeah, tight end class sucks. I don't even know what the defensive um free agents look like, but I mean, it's possible that T Higgins is like the most coveted free agent just in general um this year.
yeah, and there are even reports that the Bengals want him back at the right price, whatever that actually means. And that was, like I was saying before, is it really a bad thing if T Higgins stays in Cincinnati? The dude who just put up a number 3 in points per game total. Like, it's not really a bad thing if he stays, or he goes somewhere and he's the dude somewhere. So
Mm-mm.
clearly, I'm all on the bandwagon.
There's going to be upside wherever he goes. People are going to talk themselves into whatever situation he finds himself in, basically.
I saw Vegas had the best odds for the Commanders, which I am fully on board for.
Yep.
This was like really might have even been a week ago at this point, so it could very well be different now. But that was one of my two teams. My two teams, the Commanders for football reasons, because I want him to catch passes from Jaden Daniels. Plus, it would just be good for Jaden Daniels to have someone who can catch the ball more than 5 yards away from him.
Mm.
And the Chargers, because I want a powder blue jersey hanging right here.
I have been and have been voting for the New England Patriots. I want him to stay in Cincy. That's like, I hope that he just stays in Cincy and they make it work. But if he has to pick a different team, I want him to be on the New England Patriots for fantasy reasons, because I think it would be great for him and for Drake May.
And I agree with that.
You
I
just don't like the
just
jersey.
don't like the jersey. I don't like red, white, and blue jerseys. They
You
all
got
do
to
the thing.
get the all white one, like the
No,
retro ones. You got to get the
no,
all white ones with the
never.
little red on the shoulders.
Hashtag no white jerseys.
Um,
Never. If anything, I'd probably end up getting a red jersey
okay, that works too.
because no matter the sport, I can't get behind white jerseys. They're boring to me. It's so plain. Why? I get why they're needed, but like I don't know why anyone would buy one.
All right, yeah, I'm looking. I would do the red one with the white and blue stripes on the shoulder. That's the
Yeah,
one I would do. I wouldn't do their generic the blue. It's. I mean, I have generic blue behind me, but that's, but the generic
but that's all
Patriots
there
blue
is.
is yeah.
you know, Penn State doesn't have any flashy alternate jerseys, at least that I
Nope.
know of.
Other than all the pinstripes, dude. Don't get me started on the Penn State pinstripes, man.
What are they, just
They're
like
sick.
Yankee jerseys?
No, it's like they're regular blue, but they got like a white stripe down the side, and then
Oh,
their pants are all white, but they have a blue stripe down the side, and they actually have a number on their helmet.
oh,
I don't know what it is, man, but it just looks so good on the field.
okay. I'm glad you're happy.
Thank you.
All right, but let's reel it back in. Let's talk about Tee Higgins and look at some trades for Tee Higgins. The first trade we have is 12-team, one quarterback, where Tee Higgins was traded straight up for Kyron Williams. Tee Higgins at 642.2, Kyron Williams 524.7. So clearly we know that I'm going to have some issues in evaluating these trades, especially this trade specifically, because not only are we moving off of my favorite wide receiver, we're moving off him for a running back. It does happen to be a running back I really happen to like, and I firmly believe that he will still go into next season as the workhorse for that team. But man, this is easily Tee Higgins for me, and the analyzer has it by over 100 points also.
Yep. It's easily T. Higgins for me too. I checked on KTC, and it looks like Higgins is basically in the same tier as Kyron Williams there, as Higgins is the wide receiver 15. Kyron's the RB8. Um, age wise, it probably is about ish the same positionally. I
Yeah,
really
yeah,
like Kyron Williams.
Kyron's 24.
Yeah, I really, really like Kyron Williams a lot. I think that this is going to be is it going to be year two of people trying to say that Kyron Williams is going to fall off a cliff for some reason?
Well,
They're
yeah, because
finally going to give touches to Blake Corum, and
he took the end of his rookie season. Then there was last year where he had the ball the entire time, and then this year where everyone thought he was going to lose to Blake Corum, but he didn't.
he just continues to be great. I I really, really like Kyron Williams, but I think when you're looking at from a dynasty like roster construction and value standpoint, I think you just got to go with the wide receiver who just showed top 5 fantasy upside, then has the upside of, if he goes to a better situation that maybe gives him more targets, stays in Cincinnati, whatever it may be. I just think that if T. Higgins, if this, not even like 2024 T. Higgins is like the new T. Higgins that we're going to get for the next like 2-3 years, but just like that's T. Higgins has been good for the vast majority of his career. And
Yep.
I'd rather have that, I think, than a running back who will probably still be an RB1 next year,
Yep.
but it's also a running back. Yeah.
From there.
Yep.
And I'm just going to put it out there. I firmly believe that Tee Higgins missed multiple games this season purely because he was on the tag and didn't want to risk getting injured on the tag.
That's fair.
I have no backing to that whatsoever. But like he just popped up multiple Fridays with a hamstring injury, and he's just like, all right, okay. He's just gonna take that week off.
Did you see the whole the video when he would like run up the little hill to their practice, like onto their practice field?
Mhm.
Did you see anything about that in season? It was basically when you come through like the gate of their practice field, there's like a little tiny little hill that the players will walk over. And apparently Higgins on Friday practices, he would run up the hill or jog up the hill if he was good to go and he was going to play on Sunday, and he would walk up the hill if he wasn't going to play on Sunday. So it started to become this little Groundhog Day kind of thing. It's
Just a,
pretty
a
funny.
little, a little nod, little
Yeah.
letting you know.
Yeah.
All right, next trade. Still one quarterback. It looks 12-team, one quarterback. Tee Higgins, Isaiah Pacheco, and Khalil Shakir for the 101 and 107. Tee Higgins 642, Pacheco 272, Shakir 142, all twos, for a total of 1057 because it rounds up. And then the 101, 705, the 107, 402 for a total of 1107. I want to take Tee Higgins, but I can't here. Gene T's probably most likely gonna be the 101, especially in a one quarterback.
Most likely.
I am not saying anything is definite because who knows? Like what
Sure.
but
As
well,
about as 101 as you can get as like Bijan was a couple years ago.
exactly. So Gene T's the 101, and Gene T's gonna be worth more than T. Higgins by himself. So we're having little extra value plus the 107 for Pacheco and Shakir. Like this is, and I get that it's one quarterback, but this year we're probably only talking two spots. It's just going to be Ward and Shador Sanders most likely
Mhm.
before the
Mhm.
107. So like this is the super flex equivalent of the 101 and 109, and even still, that's pretty easily to me the picks.
Mhm.
I don't
Yep.
like you. I don't like that you did this.
I'm sorry. But I saw that in there and I tried the in the analyzer, it still doesn't say if we have picks. So I'm going in still and looking at like playoff situations. And sometimes on MFL, the commissioners are really nice and they'll post the draft order on the message board. Not all the times, but sometimes that happens. Or if it's a safe league, Scott has like a section that he puts on the MFL homepage for draft order. This
Yeah.
one did not have that though. So I was trying to see if this was truly the 1.01. It was this team and another team were tied for worst in the league in terms of record. One team had fewer points for than the other, but then the other team had fewer potential points, like max points for.
Yeah.
So I was trying, I was like going back and forth. I was like, is this the 101? Is this the 102? I was trying to go through their rules. I couldn't find anything in terms of how they allocated out, truly allocated like the rookie order for non-playoff teams. So I just said that it was the 1.01. It may actually be the 1.02. I don't think that changes my answer. It makes it closer.
Yeah.
But I think if you, I still think I would take Tet McMillan right now over T Higgins. It's in terms of play style, they're very like I comp Tech McMillan to T Higgins in my early rookie wide receiver preview video. So if you're getting T Higgins just 5 years younger with, probably top 15 draft capital, I mean, people have mocked Tet McMillan to Cincinnati as the T Higgins replacement. So team Arizona big wide receiver for Russ. Um, I don't think my answer changes if it's the 101 or the 1.02. So I was fine throwing this in here and saying that it was the 1.01.
Yeah.
I would still take the picks.
So two things to get from this conversation. If you're a commissioner, one, be nice and post on the message board the draft order. Two, you have to have clear bylaws posted. Like the league is going to have questions. They need to know exactly how their league is run, and there should be bylaws.
They literally had like all the bylaws were written out on MFL, but they didn't have anything in there for rookie drafts. They had like here's like this, how we're gonna determine uh like the free agents or anything like that and free agent bidding, and then we're gonna do this is like the bylaws for trading and if there's any collusion and stuff like it's all the typical stuff, but they didn't have a section in there for rookie picks. I was like, where are the rookie picks?
You,
I was
that's
confused.
be better. So go trade for T. Higgins. That's all I'm going to say.
So I do have one final question for you. So this is basically assuming that this is the 101. It's Genty. So we said that Genty was over T Higgins, but Higgins was over Kyron. Where is the running back equivalent for you between those? Like, are you taking Higgins over everybody that's not Bijan, Gibbs, and Genty? Are you adding in anybody else into that list? Are you taking Higgins over
Um,
Bijan or Gibbs?
no, and Brees, I'll still put in there.
Okay.
I know he's a Jet, but I still have faith.
The other names on Keep Trade Cut ahead of Kyron are Bucky's the RB6. Woo!
That's too.
Um, Saquon, Achan, Bucky, and JT.
Saquon, Bucky, HN, and JT. No, I'll take Higgins over all of those.
Okay.
JT might be a little close. If Saquon were 2 years younger, he would be easily Saquon. But I think, man, even if it's just one more year of Saquon getting 2,000 yards again, it seems like it might be worth it. But I'm going to stick with Higgins.
I think I would agree with you that I would put Brees still ahead of Higgins because I still personally believe, but I would take Higgins over everybody else. You might be able to get more with Higgins if you're trading away Saquon,
Yeah.
which would be great. But I would probably still take Tee Higgins over Saquon.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's see what player we're talking about next. Oh, Chris Godwin. That guy right back there.
Yes,
First
sir.
we had me, and now we got you. There you go.
Hey, look at that.
You want to talk about Chris Godwin a little bit? He's good.
I really hope that this injury that he's able to come back from this injury like he did, a couple years ago from the ACL injury that he had. That's about it.
Yep. Chris Godwin is very, very, very good. And he also is one of those players where speed isn't necessarily the biggest part of his game. So I don't think he's going to suffer much from this injury. I think he'll be able to come back. You never really see people losing the ability to cut because of ACLs. So
This one wasn't it like broke his ankle or something, or he twisted it or
right.
something.
Yeah, he dislocated his ankle. That's right.
Because he had the ACL injury a couple years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, and this one was it was a weird like ankle twist, but it
Yeah.
happened a few months ago already. Like that was in October, maybe. So
Yeah.
it's been a few months already. So hopefully he's able to come back from that. I think that he's the second best wide receiver in this class. I don't think that's really a hot take when you look at some of the other free agents, especially when you consider his age compared to everybody else's, like Diggs and Keenan and Amari. Like Godwin can still have 3 or 4 more years on a good contract.
Yep.
Assuming that he's healthy.
All right. Well, let's look at these trades. 12-team Superflex. JJ McCarthy, Chris Godwin, and Josh Downs for Rome Odunze and Aaron Rodgers. JJ McCarthy, 271. Chris Godwin, 182. Josh Downs, 160 for a total of 613. Rome Odunze, 403. Aaron Rodgers, 37. Total of 440. This is pretty easily the McCarthy Godwin downside for me. I almost said I think, but then that takes away everything else I said before. I like Rome Odunze. I think Odunze is going to have a good year. I think with the change in front office and another year of Caleb Williams being more acclimated to the NFL and, well, Rome Odunze being acclimated to the NFL, I think he will do much better. Aaron Rodgers, man. You think Aaron Rodgers plays next year?
I would honestly be surprised if he's because he might want to play, but I don't know if there's I mean, I'm sure there's a team out there that would be like, yes, Aaron Rodgers, you can be our starting quarterback, but I don't think that he's going to have a lot of suitors to be the starter. So I'd be surprised if he played, honestly.
I don't know why I would find it funny if he went to the Raiders and he played like for Tom Brady, kind of.
Then they brought Devontae Adams back.
Oh, that's right. That would be awkward.
Yeah, I don't see. That's why I don't think he's willing to go down that route. Like go to like a losing team. Like, I don't think if you were to sign with the Giants or the Titans or the Browns or somebody like that, like I don't think he's going to be willing to do that. And then any other team that is kind of looking for a starting quarterback that's good enough to win, I don't think that they're really out there. And again, I don't think they really want Aaron Rodgers, so I'd be surprised if he actually plays.
You believe in JJ McCarthy?
I believe in him enough because of what Sam Darnold did this year. that's basically
that's a very good point.
That's basically it. I think that if you were redrafting the rookie class from last year, I don't think Odunze and McCarthy would be too far apart. I do think Odunze would still be ahead, as ADP also suggests.
Yeah.
But I don't think it would be that much of a difference. Like Odunze might be what, like the 108?
Yeah, I was about to say like that
109?
Because you got to push BTJ up.
Right.
Got to push.
BTJ and Bowers are way up above them. above Odunze. And then maybe
Yeah,
it's now Worthy and Odunze that's the new BTJ
yeah, I can
Worthy.
get
It's
behind that.
Worthy Odunze
Yeah, I can get behind that. And then
or
McCarthy would
Lad.
probably
You got Lad McConkey up there too.
yes.
And
And
the
then yeah,
mix
McCarthy
who's
would
going behind
probably
Odunze. Oh my goodness. I don't think they'd be that too far apart. Like maybe Odunze is the 109, 110, and McCarthy's like the 112.
so this is almost for you, this is almost free Chris Godwin, Josh Downs.
Essentially. Yeah. Because I think Aaron Rodgers is a nothing piece for the rest of this. This trade did happen a couple of days ago. So it is, I think this is a fully like I'm in on Ben Johnson with Rome Odunze type trade.
Yeah.
Um, and I honestly I don't mind the consolidation point of it from going from Godwin and Downs into Odunze, but adding JJ McCarthy and then only getting Aaron Rodgers back, like you really have to believe that Rodgers is going to play, and
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yeah.
Or even if he's going to play, like I don't think I would throw. I don't think I'd even do this deal if Rodgers was like Stafford, and I knew Stafford was going to play for another year or two. But I just don't think that's enough. Or if it's like Geno,
Yeah.
or like I think it all really hinges on McCarthy being in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to find a way to fix this in my brain, and I don't think there is. Huh.
You would have to replace McCarthy with like Stafford or
Yeah.
or
If you dropped him to one of the older quarterbacks who are
right.
valued probably around, well, we're probably around that Godwin area, around that 150, 170.
Mhm.
All right, let's move on to the next one. Still 12 team Superflex, Chris Godwin in the 210 for Isaiah Pacheco. Chris Godwin, 182, the 210, 108 for a total of 290. Isaiah Pacheco, 204. I never was on the Pacheco bandwagon. Like, I would rather have Godwin in the 210 here. But
Okay.
I think it's fair enough, like the analyzer says.
I'm still having a tough time with this trade. I had a tough time with it when I put it in here, and I still don't know if I have a firm answer on this one. I was in on Pacheco last year, but that injury kind of scares me for like September and October production for this year. It doesn't scare me long term, but it was the same one that Tony Pollard has, the same one that Andrews had, it's the same one that Tank Dell had last year. And all of them had immensely slow starts to the season and didn't take until November basically for like all of them to really get going. So that's why I think like I'm going to be in on buying Isaiah Pacheco at some point this year. I just don't know if it's going to be in the offseason because I think people might get disappointed in early September production and there might be an even better buy window then, especially if you don't know if you're a contender or not. You might see what your team tells you if they are, and then if they are, maybe you buy low on Pacheco at that point for a second half surge. I think I'd take Godwin in the 210 here as well.
Yeah, like I agree you need to add to Godwin, and the 210 isn't really that big of a piece, but I don't know. Like it might just be me being stuck on the fact that I'm not the biggest Pacheco fan, which that's a lie. I'm a fan of the player. Like he's fun to watch, but I'm not the biggest fan. Like he's just always overvalued, I think is really what it comes down to. Like
Mm.
he's valued as a low end one, I think, and he's a meh two for me.
He's RB20 on KTC. He definitely fell because of that injury.
That feels right, but I don't think that's what his trade value is.
And I do think his trade value is going to increase because I think that we're going to have more and more people like hype him up as like, oh, he's coming back from injury. Look what he did in 2023. Look what he did in the first 2 games of 2024 before he got hurt. You're going to have that hype up, and I think his value is going to rise up from here. I would you do this with the intention to then trade away Pacheco for more? Would you take that gamble? Because how much more value is Godwin going to gain from
That
signing in free agency?
yeah, I think that's a risk I would. That sounds like a fun risk. Like you're on a rebuilding team and you have Godwin, so you go and you move over to Pacheco, who is a 25-year-old running back, but still, you're right. He has one good game and all of a sudden he's the running back for the Chiefs again, so he'll be
Mhm.
able to his value would increase. I do think you're right. I think Pacheco has the chance to be able to have much more trade value than Godwin, and the 210 will, well, I guess you can't really call that midseason because the 210 will be gone, but Godwin and your late 26 seconds, you'd probably still have a better chance of moving Pacheco for late first if you're lucky.
Yeah, or just a better younger wide receiver, and you don't even get the pick attached onto it. Like
Yeah.
if Pacheco rose in value to to just being a top 15 running back again, you could get, at least right now, that has now entered into the McLaurin, Metcalf, Waddle, Pickens, DJ Moore range of wide receivers.
Oh man, if I could flip Pacheco for Waddle, like that's cartwheel worthy.
Yeah. And I don't think you're not getting Waddle for Godwin in a second, I don't think.
I don't think so. All right, let's see who's next. Others. Okay, here we go. First trade, 12-team Superflex. The 202 and Keenan Allen for the 112 and Deontay Johnson. All right, the 202 is 159. Keenan Allen 55 for a total of 214. The 112 is 210. Deontay Johnson 26 for a total of 235. So more or less completely fair in the analyzer. Man, Deontay Johnson back on Baltimore. Is he even going to be on Baltimore by the time the season rolls around? Like
He's been on like 4 teams
in the past
in
20
a
minutes.
year. Yeah, just I don't, dude. There needs to be like a 30 for 30 on Deontay Johnson's 2024 season because I don't know what the heck happened.
There must be something up with him personality wise. It's the
There
only thing I
has
can
to
think
be.
of.
I can't imagine how you go, like, he looked good with Andy Dalton in Carolina, and
Yeah,
then they trade him, and then he's just
they didn't put him on the field.
gone. This like magic trick. I have
Right.
to believe that he's still good enough, you know?
But you'd have Keenan Allen over Deontay Johnson.
I At least from how they both ended the season, yeah. Like I'm definitely more comfortable with Keenan Allen based on he showed the eye test that he still got it. Even if I don't think he's gonna be back in Chicago. I think he's basically
No.
gone.
Yeah.
Um, so you're basically throwing a lottery ticket at both of these wide receivers. I feel like from that standpoint, I'd rather just have the 112 if you're just gonna hope and pray that one of these guys hopefully lands somewhere good.
Yeah. What I was going to say is, look, is Keenan Allen worth the 2 spots from the 112 to the 202? Probably, yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Does that mean I would do it? I would probably just see what I can get at the one. Like, this is one of those on the clock kind of trades where it's
Mm,
like I'm at the 112 and there's like 4 people that I'm cool with drafting. So let someone else make the decision for me and I get a free Keenan Allen at that point.
yeah. I think
But
the issue though is you probably aren't gonna be able to do that unless Keenan really doesn't land somewhere ideal.
32-year-old wide receiver, you think he's ever going to garner more than those 2 spots at this point?
I think if he signs as a wide receiver 2 somewhere else, maybe. Like, if
Yeah.
he goes down to Houston, I think that there's potential there.
Yeah. I guess. I still just to me the answer is still just the 112. Just take the better pick and you can figure out what to do with it later. Like there's an infinite amount of pieces that you can slide in to move back those 2 spots. Though I do like Keenan Allen and I firmly believe that he's good still. Next trade, 12 team, 1 quarterback. The 106, Amari Cooper and Steph Diggs for Travis Etienne, the 206, and Tank Bigsby. Oh, so we're trading for the Jacksonville backfield. I don't like doing that. Not the point. 106 is 430. Amari Cooper, 115. Steph Diggs, 101 for a total of 646. ETN, 166. 206, 148. Bigsby 105 for a total of 418. So this is pretty heavily in favor of the 106 by itself. I mean, this is the 106 to me. I know,
Yep.
I mean, Amari Cooper and Steph Diggs are both free agents. Diggs coming off of the injury. They're both pretty old, 30 and 31. But yeah, I'm still taking the pick and wide receivers here. Maybe if Bigsby was like Chuba, I would feel different. You know, a low valued starting running back for another team and not just the second running back on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
I would consider it a little more, but I still think give me the 106. Give me the shot that Cooper and Diggs go to a place where they could walk in and be, look, they're not going to be wide receiver ones anymore, most likely. But if
Nope.
they could be solid low end twos, high end threes, that still makes it way worth the 206 Tank Bigsby. And, you know, you hope ETN does enough to be worth the 106 on his own.
Right. Yeah, I don't mind taking the shot on the Jaguars backfield in the hopes that maybe ETN does kind of return to what he did in 2022 and 2023. Um, or if he is actually bad, maybe they do move on from him and then Tank Bigsby gets that, role, which Bigsby looked solid in that role last year too. I don't hate taking the shots that maybe you have one good starting running back with the upside to potentially having two solid starting running backs.
Mhm.
Um, and the 2.06 isn't terrible either, but I'm not using the 1.06 to make that bet.
Yeah,
Just way too much.
again, what it really comes down to, the 106 seems to be too valuable to make this sort of move with.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, let's hit up what I think is the last trade, and it is Marquise Brown straight up for Zach Charbonnet. Marquise at 95.4, Charbonnet at 143.6. I want Marquise to go somewhere else. I think he could be a solid two on a team, and the Chiefs just don't need him.
Well, now not with the way that Worthy's been playing, and then you got Rashee Rice coming back. You know,
Yeah, like unfortunately, it was a lost season for Hollywood, so like we can't really say anything about his play this year. But he's only 27 and he's good. So he's came back from injury already. He's playing now, so we know he's going to be ready to go by the time next season it rolls around. Even if we're talking about getting back up to game speed instead of just being healthy. So I do still think Hollywood will garner interest from a couple of teams. Hopefully, he goes to somewhere. Like I don't think he's not going to be the one somewhere, but I think he could be a very solid. More, I think he's more than just a deep threat still.
he's
So
he's played 4 games for Kansas City. He went 5 for 45 in his first week back on 8 targets, 4 for 46. Then after that on 7 targets, got blanked in the Houston game in the divisional round. 2 targets, 0 receptions. But then against Buffalo, 5 targets, 3 for 35.
I mean,
So
those. Yeah, I mean, those at least it started out with good target numbers.
I honestly like I'm happy with those numbers in this Chiefs offense with how it's now flowing through, Worthy and Kelsey still there, and the run game is still very active and healthy with Kareem Hunt and Isaiah Pacheco. Uh, Plus their defense is just really good too. Like they really haven't needed to throw because in 3 of those 4 games that Worthy or that Hollywood has played in, they haven't even allowed 20 points on defense. So they're not really struggling to win. And I think that those numbers are and he's continuing to grow in snap count as well. So I think those numbers are all very encouraging. I think Hollywood is actually the third most interesting free agent in this class from a dynasty perspective. I think it's obviously Tee Higgins. Then I would put Godwin just because we've seen the production in Tampa. But then I'm back in on potentially taking a shot on Hollywood Brown again. And I think that he's more interesting than Diggs. I think he's more interesting than Keenan. Definitely more interesting than Amari.
Yeah,
And I think that I'd probably be willing to pay Zach Charbonnet for Hollywood Brown. I don't know if I think that's very team dependent. Like I think I know when I can start Zach Charbonnet, and it's when Kenneth Walker's hurt, and he seems to do that more often than not. I don't know. Even if Hollywood were to sign somewhere decent, I still wouldn't know really when to start him or feel comfortable starting him unless he comes back to like Cardinals Hollywood Brown or that final season that he had in
Yeah.
Baltimore, which you're hoping that he gets there. But like, I still feel like if it's Zach Charbonnet, I at least know when I can start him and I know when I can't start him. And I think that there's some value in that. But I think this is the proper range for Hollywood. Like I'd give up other handcuff running backs that maybe have upside. Like I'd give up like Jalen Wright for Hollywood Brown
Yeah.
or Marshawn Lloyd for Hollywood Brown or, any of those other free agent guys in a third or something for Hollywood. Just because I think he's the third most interesting guy in this class.
Well said. Hold on, let me scroll. Yep, that was it. And hey, there's no Russ is a dum dum this time.
Although
There is Russ really was a dum dum.
I could have. You shared it with me before we started recording. I couldn't throw it in here in time, but we could have talked about it.
I made a trade thinking I was getting the 102, then thought it was the 104, and it turns out it was actually a 26 first. So follow that roller coaster.
Double check all the buttons you're checking.
Well, no, this was sent to me. So just read.
Oh.
Actually read.
Or read.
Read what the offers are that are actually sent to you before you just go and click accept, because it's just been forever since you made a trade and you wanted to get something done. Yeah.
Reading's hard sometimes, though. I get it.
It is. On that valuable piece of advice, this has been a DLF Trade Show on the DLF YouTube channel. Russ Fisher, Dynasty Outhouse, Addison Hayes, @MaceHayes_. We'll catch you next time.